We're back. We're back from Hood River. We're back with a banger today. We've got Berzolla.
It never really stuck out to me that it was going to become something big or blow up as it has. Winging is, crazy to me, but parawinging is next level. So I think it opens up a whole new realm and opportunity for people to just maximize time on the water.
Powered up, parawing, wave riding, clearing sections, boosting airs.
There's definitely something there. I'm really excited to try in the waves with parawings. Yeah, Kai's a different breed, even for me too, to look at Kai's videos and say it's possible because it's Kai.
You were under and then over and under.
Yeah,
what does that feel like?
Like, oh shit, and then you hit, and then it goes kind of psycho.
I saw you in the gorge just hucking everything. All right, let's try a backflip.
Going into it, I didn't know if the parawing was gonna loop or rotate at all, or what was gonna happen. And oh no, too much rotations. Okay, this is doable. Like we can fully try this, and I didn't die.
When do you feel Armstrong's gonna get out with the parawing, man?
There's been a lot of talk, and there's been a lot of R&D at least. Is parawinging gonna, exceed winging? It has a good chance.
Welcome to the Lab Rat Foiler podcast. My name is Dan, and we're back. We're back from Hood River. We're back with a banger today. We've got Berzolla. Man, thanks for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's exciting to be here. I mean, I know we're pretty far apart. I think you're in Australia, right? I'm in Maui, so we're kind of close. We're kind of close. It's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, dude, look, it was awesome. I mean, I just came back from Hood River and saw you there just doing insane things with the parawing, and I'll put a link to the strike mission video that you guys launched, that vlog. Just absolutely, smashing it, doing insane tricks and pushing really parawinging to, where very few people have taken it before. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about where you see the parawing going, discipline in general, where the growth will be in your eyes. But before we get into that, let's learn a little bit about you, man. I like to talk about people's history to just understand, all the bag of tricks and tools you're bringing into parawinging. People know who you are, but let's just understand a little bit about where did it all start for you from the beginning.
Yeah, very, very young age. It started for me. I've always been in the water. My parents always had me in the ocean and on some form of board. I believe I started, like most kids, just kind of on the front of my dad's surfboard and some small waves. And, that's kind of, I guess, where I fell in love with it. I did a lot of skimboarding when I was really young, on a boogie board. And we actually eventually drilled some fin holes into a boogie board, and it was like a twin fin, and I started standing on it. And I guess it's called stoogieing now, stand-up boogie boarding. And that's kind of where I started. I surfed forever after that. I was always into shortboarding and did a lot of the contests here on Maui, and just really fell in love with all things the ocean. I was super into stand-up paddling, I think, around that time as well. So we did a lot of sup surfing and things like that. That's kind of when supping was big, and Kai Lenny was out of Jaws, and there was a big tour for it at least. And there was a lot of racing, but I was focused more on the waves and just loved to surf and stand-up paddle. And then not until, COVID 2020, island shuts down and there's not really anyone here and not much going on. I think it was the summer of 2020 that I really fell into the realm of foiling. The Franco Hana, Marley Franco, one of my younger friends here on Maui, who's an absolute ripper and foils and surfs and kites and, does kind of just about everything in the water. He taught me along with his mom and dad, Michelle Franco and Jose. And I just used some of their gear and they showed me the ropes. I believe we started proning, which looking back at it isn't the easiest way to learn, but as groms and really energized kids, it was kind of just a matter of time before we started, I guess, pumping back out to grab our next waves. And that was a goal. It was just something that was so weird and new to us. Like no one was really doing it. You know, there's a handful of guys here, and there wasn't really anyone pushing the level. I guess it was everyone just kind of holding on for dear life and trying to make it down the wave or make it out to the front of the whitewater and maybe connect the second one. Um, so yeah, it was probably midsummer 2020. No one was here, which was great. There wasn't any eyes to watch us flounder around and walk up and down Kanaha, do the lap, walk of shame. But that's where it started. I like the idea, and to be honest with you, I got my first setup because I think my mom wanted me out of the house. She was like, "You need to be in the water doing something with wind sports related," and I was like, I hate this sport. I don't want to do it. It's too much gear because coming from surfing, it's quite a bit of gear. But now looking at it compared to kiting or windsurfing, it's like you're on the water like that, right? So, but in the day for me, it just felt like there was a lot. It was an awkward setup to carry around, and I was trying it. I had an open mind, but at the same time, I was pretty closed and still had that surfer mindset of just I'm gonna surf and maybe wing here and there. And soon after that, I think within 6 months of winging and just starting to stay upwind, I fell into the arms of Armstrong, under luck and through the Franco Ohana as well as Kevin Collins here on the North Shore of Maui was a rep for them, and they were looking for some riders and Groms to get on the team. And yeah, I think it was 2020, 2021 that I got on the team and just was on the flow program. Was stoked to have some gear that was really decent. And it was interesting because, I started on some old, beat up gear that Michelle and Jose had in their garage, I think, and weren't using, and put me on it. And I was, they were so kind enough to let me use it. And that's how I learned, right? But as soon as I got on that Armstrong gear, it was like a crazy, skyrocket level that just, went, and it kind of baffled me as well. And I was kind of like, oh, like I'm starting to do airs and starting to do, fun stuff. And the big thing for me was I was just having fun. Like it was just something to do on the water. I was able to go explore the outer reefs, which I hadn't been able to do because we didn't have a jet ski. And, you kind of stay pretty like to where you surf, you're always stuck to kind of where you want to go surf or on the inside. And I don't know, the wing foiling just gave me that freedom to kind of go explore. And yeah, I was just having fun with my friends, and that was the main thing. Like for me, it's always been whatever, gives you joy in the water, and whatever, keeps you in the water for as long as you can. And it was just a sport that my level grew really rapidly, which I was stoked on, and I was able to get gear from Armstrong and have fun with my friends. So it was something new, and of course the feeling of foiling is something you can't even explain. It's something magical and different in itself. But
it hooks you pretty quickly, doesn't it? Once you get going,
it hooks you. Yeah, and I think a lot of people have that mindset of like, oh, it's so dangerous and it's sketchy, but it's weird. Like once you get over the hump, I think of that, crashing a lot, it can be really relaxed and be, you can mow the lawn all day, and there's no strain from the chop of, a windsurf board or a kiteboard or, surfboard. So it's once you learn, and if you do it the right way, like learning proning is a bit difficult, and it's pretty, you do a lot of slams, and same with winging, like it's pretty full on. But now, behind a boat or even with the e-foil stuff, it's pretty cool what you can do to learn and get into it in a safer, more gradual manner, I guess. So
how long did it take you
I kind of started.
How long did it take you to go from prone to, grabbing a wing and trying winging?
It was almost at the same time. So the first time I went was proning out here at Kahului Harbor. It was like the end of winter, I think, beginning of summer 2020. And so we had some swell that was pushing through the harbor, and we'd just go in there and catch whitewater. And then, 2 days later, there'd be wind and no waves, and we'd go to Kanaha and just try another form, because Marley was always really into kiting. He surfed and kited mainly, I believe, and was slowly getting into this wing thing, and Michelle was like, "Ah, you need somebody to, go with him."
Yeah.
And in the day, like, Marley was just, he was able to stay upwind and ripping, and I was like, "Oh, I need to do that. I need to get to his level." And he helped push me to get better. And there's
That's always
definitely a
good.
lot of walking involved, but it was really back and forth. So I'd prone a little bit, and then I'd go
Hmm.
wing, and then prone, and then summer came around, and it was a lot of proning on the west side, as well as winging. It was just nuking wind here in the summer,
Hmm.
as Maui does. And yeah, I think it was a lot of, and then it started more winging just because it was easier. I live on the North Shore, so it wasn't as long of a drive, and there's always wind. It gets you in
Yeah.
the
Is that
water.
is that what really motivated you to kind of take that course towards winging more than proning? Like just the conditions, or like the wing gave you something that was completely unique and you didn't experience it anywhere else?
I think it's a little bit of both. Of course, winging gave me so much and gave me things that I don't and never will get in surfing. But also, being a product of your environment is something that I think we talk about a lot, and a lot of people in the industry will mention. And Maui's so windy. Like,
Mm.
if you grow up here and you don't do a wind sport,
Yeah.
after in the afternoon, you're either going to go grind surfing in 20 25 knot side shore, or sit at home. So winging was definitely a way for me to be in the water twice as much, as just having surfing under my belt. And yeah, it was a little bit of both for sure. It gave me
Hmm.
a unique feeling and something that was different. So I don't know, there wasn't one that really stuck out. It was a bit of both for sure.
Mm. I and yeah, look, I had the pleasure to see you guys, all the Armstrong crew, in Hood River. We didn't get a chance to meet there because you were in the water doing some freaky shit, and I was like, oh my god, like, was that your first time on the Parawing in Hood River? Or let's start from the beginning. Where was the first time you saw Parawinging? Like that caught your attention?
Yeah, the first time I saw Parawing was here on Maui.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what company it was, but it was a local gentleman, I believe, that started it, and it was like only him. It was
Yep.
only him doing it. And we're like, what is that? Like, that can't be fun. It's like, it's trash. I mean, guys call it trash bagging now, but it
Yep.
really is. It's like, you take your
It's
your
crazy.
Safeway or grocery store bag out there and just hold it out. And basically, that was, I'm like, that's so stupid. Like, that can't be fun. That doesn't work. And they were just downwinding, of
Yeah.
course.
Right.
And um, that was probably a year ago, I want to say, I first
Mm-hmm.
saw it. And there was just no chance. Like, it's like, I'm happy doing what I'm doing. This is one guy's like experimenting. There's a
Yeah.
lot of interesting people here on Maui who are always, coming up with interesting stuff. And it's been the birthplace of a lot of cool things in the
Mm.
water sports industry. And it never really stuck out to me that it was going to become something big or
Yep.
blow up as it has. But yeah, it was about a year and a half ago, maybe a year ago, that I first saw it just on a downwind run, or out in the ocean. I was like, oh, okay, that's weird. Yeah, so I mean, first session that I got on it, we had the Armstrong team here for the downwind races, the Triple Crown. You have Paddle
Mm-hmm.
and Mua, which is a fundraiser, and then you have the big ones, which is Maui to Molokai and Molokai to Oahu. So we have an awesome team that comes out, and we just had a bunch of people, on Maui lapping down runs. And my team manager, Jono, super into
I met him.
parawinging
He's
and had a
cool. Yep.
few. Awesome dude. They were staying down on Stable Road, right in the ocean here on Maui. And I was just at the house playing around with it. It's like, oh yeah, go for a run. And I think I just hopped on a mid length and tried it for the first time. And he kind of gave me the little lowdown of how it
Mm.
worked. And I don't know. I just, it's like, how hard could it be? We're just gonna go sit and go have fun. Me and Oscar hopped on him, and we went together, which was great because we both got to struggle a bit and laugh at each other. And it was it was an interesting feeling because every time I got on foil, it was like I'd landed a huge air on a big wave, or
Yep.
kicked out of a wave at Jaws. It was, I was so excited and frothed, and I would just look back, and Oscar's floating around in the background. I got to laugh at him. And we had a few moments, like tangle moments. The best one was we were way outside of the outer reef at Kanaha, and it was getting dark. It was pretty dark, and Um, Oscar had just, you know, wrapped his lines and it was all, and he was in the water struggling and like, I just the funniest thing ever. I don't know why. And I came down next to him and was just laughing and, you know, trying to just being a punk, you know, a wise ass and giving it to him.
It definitely helps having a mate out there.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And he like maybe after 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, he figured it out and it came out.
Mm.
And like right at the end, I don't know what I did, but I dropped it down and did it like the same exact thing and was stuck for like 30 minutes at the end of the day. And he
Yep.
went, he's like, should I go in and grab a wing and bring it out? I was like, no, I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to figure it out. And like, I swear part of the parenting experience for me is getting it tangled and then untangling it and being like, oh,
Yep.
I'm him, you know, like I'm the guy, I can untangle anything. And that feeling is just something that's, you know, interesting and different. And I haven't really experienced it because I don't kite that much and I don't deal
Yep.
with lines as much as I should. But yeah, we got on it and, you know, we were able to get up and not walk the beach. So we were stoked. And play around with it. And there was a little bit of, you know, in the first session, we were kind of trying airs and stuff. And I'd seen a
Mm.
lot of the stuff online from some of the European guys doing some freestyle stuff. And
Yeah,
um,
Marlo's just going nuts right now with that.
yeah, never like really wanted to try it. And it was always just like, you know, one hand, you know, 1 foot stuff and whatever. But we were just playing around with it. We got some waves. So we were playing around with it in the waves, which is a whole
Mm.
different, you know,
Hmm.
conversation. And I think it can definitely go somewhere. But I don't know what it will do, or how it will go. It'll definitely
Yep.
be a learning experience in itself. But um, yeah, in the beginning, I think before I came to Hood River, I had 2 or 3 sessions on the Parawing at home, just kind of mowing the lawn and figuring out what it was all about. You know, trying to learn how to pack it away and throw it back out without
Yep.
having it tangled and spin around and, you know, take me or Oscar out. But yeah, it interests me and it's just such a unique thing. And I think it's great, especially for downwinding,
Hmm.
because you're able to use such a small board and such a small foil and just pack it away. And then you have
Yeah.
nothing. It's just like, you know, a lot of the guys here would chip in proning at Hokipa, or you've even seen Ridge like rock start
Mm.
at Maliko and do it.
That's
And it's
nuts.
just like the sketchiest thing, you know, known to man. You know, you're
Yeah.
a mile or 2 miles out and there's some really funny videos of Ridge and one of my buddies here, Otis, just like, you know, they're a mile outside of Figure Cove or out at a reef and they're playing with each other. They just like hit, they fall, you know, they hit each other
Oh,
and
dude,
fall.
game
And then
over.
it makes for a great video, but you're like, yeah, you paddled for 40 minutes after that,
Yeah.
didn't you? So, um, but it enables that thing for a lot more people to ride smaller boards, smaller foils, and be safe about it. You know, have a backup when you do fall, and um, but enjoy the aspect of downwinding without, you know, a paddle and a big board. So you're able to really just you're really able to surf a wave for however long you want to go. I mean, here it's the good one is Malika around its 8 miles of just you could carve for 8 miles if you want. It's pretty awesome, and there's not really much pumping involved. It's just you get up with your pairwing, put it away, and go. So I think it opens up a whole new realm and opportunity for people to just, you know, enjoy the ocean and really maximize time on the water and just do it in a different and weird form. I have no idea where it's going to go in the future. I hope it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And I think there's a lot of potential. And in terms of waves, I don't know what your thoughts are on it, but I think there's definitely something there. I haven't played around with it too much, but um, yeah, I'm excited to. Winter is around the corner. It's
Mm.
coming in hot, so we'll
Yep.
see how she goes. And um, yeah, I think Armstrong's gonna pump out a few soon, or you know, in the future. And I just yeah, I'm excited to see what you know how they are and what comes of it because I think it's a
Yeah.
unique part of the sport for sure.
Oh, dude, like you touched on a lot of stuff there that I want to double click on. Number one, just like that initial contact with the Parawing and understanding what was the kind of like the weirdest or hardest thing to just understand about it. Was it just that interaction with lines, or what really kind of, you know, gave you a little bit more of a headache to get going on it?
Yeah, it's a little bit harder to get going than a wing. Actually, it's probably a lot harder.
Yeah.
Because you know, you're not really using two hands to get up. I mean, you can front side. For me, I like to cross, so like getting up,
Mm.
I guess it would be toe side. I don't even know the terms.
Yeah, it would be toe
But
side. You can go, yeah, you go toe side with one
yeah,
hand. Yep.
you're one-handed, and there's just not as much low end typically, I guess, unless it's nuking. If it's
Mm.
nuking, like you can just put it out there and get pulled up. But just like a wing. But for me, the hardest, you know, thing to really wrap my head around was there wasn't really much to pull on. Like
Yeah.
you can't really pump it. You know, like a wing, a lot of times with if it's light or you're trying to get up, you can kind of pump it, and it
Mm.
gives you a little bit of extra get up. The Parawing, not so much. You kind of gotta you gotta take the right one. And for
Mm-hmm.
me, I haven't really dialed it in. I've seen a lot of people take multiple
Yep.
Parawings with them out, you know, to wherever they're going, just not just to the beach, but out in the water. Just because you can pack them away so small, it doesn't really matter. But for me, I've always been either like really under or really lit. You know, I haven't found that middle ground, and that's probably just me being, you know, a new kook to the sport, and you know, just kind of figuring out and dialing gear in. But yeah, it was just for me, it was that low end. There's not really much to really pull back on.
Yeah.
You know, a smaller canopy and just yeah, not as much bottom end. But yeah, that was kind of it for me. Also, packing it away is an art in itself.
Yeah.
Uh, Guys make it look too easy, and it's really like, I mean, you could pack it away as like just anyone can pack it away. I think it's more pulling it out and then getting it back out there.
And when you think about like the limitations of the Parawing compared to the wing, where do you feel that like you can do stuff on the wing that you can't do on the Parawing?
It's a good question. You know, I don't think my level's there yet to really make a claim on it. I think the Parawing has a lot of unique stuff to it that the wing doesn't. It's an interesting question because I don't really know. I think the limitations of winging are constantly, you know, exceeding our expectations, and they keep breaking what we think are the limits. So to say that I put limits on Parawing well is I don't know if it's a I don't think it's a valid question just because, you know, winging's so new as well, and the
Mm.
limits of just winging are being broken, you know, every day or every month. And I'm really interested to see what happens with pair winging in waves. I think there
Yeah.
might be a little bit of, you know, a limit to that. I'm not sure
Mm.
how it does. You know, even if my Parawing's in, you know, the pouch thing and I get pounded by, you know, a 5 or 10 foot wave, I don't know what happens. With the
Yeah.
wing, I do. But you know, if it's holding me down, I think there might be a little bit of a limitation there. Or you just, you know, you ride without a pouch and then you
Mm-hmm.
can get away from the Parawing. But I really don't know. I'm definitely not good enough to say the limitations of parawing at all. And I think parawing especially is just so new that people are going to constantly be breaking, you know, what we think is possible. And I mean, it just goes to show in winging because it happens in winging still. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know. I really I got nothing there.
No, look, I think that's fair, man, because I think when you talk about wave riding, I think about what you're doing on waves, which is absolutely ridiculous on the wing and, you know, pumping those airs, like clearing those sections. Do you feel it, you know, like it would be possible to do like powered up parawing wave riding, similar to what you're doing on the wing, clearing sections, boosting airs? What's the opportunity? Do you think it's possible? Do you think it's doable? What's your take?
um, there's definitely something there, for sure. And I think in the next year you're gonna see it or start to see it at least. I think there's definitely a limit to clearing sections with a pair wing. I think it's a little bit harder
Mm-hmm.
than with a wing, but you're still going to see some videos and guys doing it. Maybe not as big and not as far, but definitely available and doable. In terms of wave riding, I think Yeah, it's totally doable, and I think in the next year you're gonna see people from all over the world try different things. In terms of clearing sections, I don't think you're gonna be able to do as big of stuff as you are with
Hmm.
winging, just because there's not as much you know, pull and grunt with a parawing.
Yep.
The wing you can base it's like almost like a hang glider or something. You can kind of, if you hit it right, you can go pretty far, just like a windsurfing
Yeah.
sail or something like that. Parawing's a little bit smaller. It doesn't,
Mm.
I guess, maybe hold as much wind very well, if that's the correct wording there. But you're definitely going to see videos and people trying it. I don't think it'll be nearly as big and as crazy, but um, in terms of laying down a parawing, it's
Mm.
totally doable. It's not going to be like winging, but it's going to be more like kiting in terms of you're moving your kite
Yep.
a little bit before you turn and trying to adapt to that. So it's definitely possible, and it's going to be interesting. I'm really excited to try and see what we can do in the waves with parawings, and I
Yes,
think
please.
it's gonna be fun. There might be some comedic videos to be put out for
Mm.
your guys' viewing pleasure of me, trying to kill myself with the parawing. But there's definitely something there. We've been sliding around on them a bit and
Mm.
trying, basically just trying everything that I like to do winging on the parawing and seeing how it compares. Does it work? Does it not work? What's better? What's not? And as of now, I don't have an answer for you of, what specifically works and doesn't because I haven't tried it nearly enough. But, back to the lay down stuff, it's going to be more kite style, I think, of course. But it opens up a whole new thing of like, you're probably going to see guys do more, proning maneuvers with maybe a smaller
Mm-hmm.
board or some different setup configuration than winging because you're able to put away your, power source.
Yeah.
You're not going to have a wing or a parawing that's kind of fluttering by you and, in the way. So you probably see guys on smaller boards and more prone style in bigger waves for sure. And that's what I'm interested to see is, you get into an overhead wave and then you're proning. A lot of times you get to a spot or you're, winging a spot that isn't necessarily pronable because it's so big. It's hard and it takes a unique person and mindset, I guess, to try and prone a overhead wave in general. Of course, you can, you know, grab the white water inside and pump out, but it's a lot of work and it's hard to do and you don't see it as much. So I think it's going to be a lot of, toe style, but a
Mm.
parawing to help you get into it. Um,
It's sketchy though,
yeah.
man. Being on a parawing. I mean, we saw, one of your friends in Hawaii go into Piahi, Kyle Lenny on the Ozone parawing, and I thought he was gonna explode on that thing when he was going down the face. I'm like, if he falls down there, he's cooked because that
Yeah.
parawing can wrap around you, and he hadn't like completely, wadded it up, and he was just kind of like the thing was flapping. I'm like, oh god.
Yeah, Kai's a different breed, and it's really hard, even for me to look at Kai's videos and say it's possible because it's Kai.
Yeah.
It's something that it's just different, and only Kai can do. I think it's possible. I'd love to give it a shot. It's parawinging out there is crazy to me. Winging is crazy to me, but parawinging is next level. And I'm sure he had it.
Yeah.
He's got it. Again, it's Kai. Fueled by Taco Bell, you can kind of do anything, right? Um, but yeah, it's gonna be super interesting to see where it goes, and I know there's a lot of stuff out there in the freestyle realm that you're like, what? I didn't think that was possible, but
Mm.
it's just like winging in the early stages. It's okay, can we backflip it? And I think it's gonna be a lot quicker of a progression, I guess,
Yeah.
because a lot of people are gonna take stuff from winging that they've already done the trial and error and I guess
Mm.
the R&D and all the testing and fails and take what they know from that and put it into parawinging. And even just, the tricks, like, at the beginning of winging, you didn't know the backflip was possible until, Jeffrey Spencer did it or whatever. And now it's like, oh, okay, we got a parawing, we got to backflip it. There's no,
Straight up.
like, oh, I don't know if it's possible. You're like, yeah, it's probably possible. We can do
Yeah.
it. So, but even like the backflip on the parawing, I did it for the first time in Hood, and
Yeah.
it's sick. It's like a mega loop kiting, which I don't know what feels like because I'm not that guy. But when you do it, it's not like a wing where you're kind of holding it and you don't feel the pull of the wing. You
Yeah.
kind of feel the pull of the parawing the whole time, and you kind of go over it. I know you go over the wing when you're wing foiling, but it's it's going to be a lot of similar but different sort of stuff with the parawing. But again, I think it's just going to skyrocket, and the level is going to go up faster than winging did because we know a lot more in the, I guess, realm of this topic.
Yeah.
From all the testing from winging.
Yeah, you guys have all these tricks that you're going to be bringing in pretty quick. And let's talk about that because I saw you in the gorge just hucking everything. And I was like, I was just wondering how long you were on the Parawing for, and it wasn't that long. So you go out, you're like, all right, let's try a backflip. How did that go? Because you could do a backflip on the Parawing without kind of looping it, like just holding and like switching your hands on the bar. But then you can also go full tilt like you did and actually have a powered loop. So explain the powered loop for us because I think it just looks freaking amazing.
Yeah, it's definitely a unique one for sure, and it's a fun feeling. It's just different, we're not used to it, so being able to land one is just something new and exciting. But for me, in terms of hucking it, I'm young. The body is nimble. It's still somewhat flexible, so I have the advantage to say, hey, I'm just gonna try this and give it a shot. And the backflips is pretty doable. Just hitting at the wind angle, you're used to, winging helps a lot. But for the most part, I think I just kind of sent it and gave it my best shot. It helps a lot when you see someone else do it. That's why
Yeah.
like when you see someone who invented a trick or tried a trick for the first time, it's pretty mind-blowing because they've had no one before them to really, say, hey, this is doable. So I saw a few videos of the backflip and was like, oh, okay, I think I can do that. And I don't know. For me, there wasn't really anything. I don't pull a lot. It's not like a kite bar where you're pulling a lot on the bar. It felt I used it more like a wing. So I went into it a lot more wing focused and took a lot of my skills and knowledge from winging and then tried it like that way. And I basically looked at it of just holding, hey, I've got the bar. This is my boom from the
Yeah.
wing. And I'm just going to try a backflip how I would with the wing. Not thinking about the parawing. And it worked. It worked, somewhat in the beginning. I think, I got the rotation and landed it, kind of on my feet, but the parawing didn't fully, it lost wind. So it didn't hold wind the whole time. So it kind of got weird and I had like the nose on it or something. And then from there, you're like, okay, this is doable. Like we
Yep.
can fully try this. And, I didn't die. Everyone's okay. No one panic. We've done it. And then from there, it's just a little details of like, oh, what if I try this a little bit? I hit the bump a little bit more downwind, or I open my arms a little bit when I'm upside down or something like that. And just playing with those little things. The front flip, I couldn't tell you. I died trying the front flip.
The front flip looks incredible. I don't know what's the term because I'm not a wakeboarder, but there's a front flip that's a roll, and the front flip was kind of like a rotation sideways, and that looks
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah, I honestly I don't know the difference either. It's just anything over the front for me is a little it's not above my pay grade, but it's definitely difficult in winging. And now after doing so many front flips, you can come out of a front flip and stall, so
Yeah.
you don't over rotate. With the parawing, I got nothing. I got no idea for you. I was just like trying to rotate. I didn't, because going into it, I didn't know if the pairing was going to loop or rotate at all or what was going to happen. And a lot of the first ones I tried in Hood River were surprisingly, I rotated, which I was stoked on. But then after I came out of it, I was like, oh no, too much rotation. So it was just a lot of like, chest and face planning. Because after you come out of it, it was harder to, you know, sheet in and pull back like a wing. And I think that's just gonna come with time. A lot of the guys are figuring it out and getting better, but it's a super
That's
fun thing
awesome.
to try, and of course, like winging it kind of opens up a little bit for everyone. You can go psycho and try to kill yourself with it, or you can mow the lawn, or you can go downwind and be super relaxed with it. So it's super unique, just like winging. Like it just has a little bit for everyone. It can either be the most relaxed thing in the world and just get you on the water, or you can push yourself and the sport as well. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
think that's what attracted me to it. And you're right. I think, if you want to sail, you have it. If you want to catch waves, yeah. If you want to go downwinding, sure. And if you want to do tricks and do freestyle, it's there. And it just combines everything, man. You can prone, you can do all these disciplines with the one tool, I guess. Um, and I agree. I don't know where this is going to go, but I saw again, some other guys in Hood like Ken Atgate and Johnny Heineken, and they were doing completely different style of riding, which, it's really using the Parawing and doing these kind of tricks with the Parawing that kind of like defy what I thought was possible. So I don't even know what disciplines are coming up, but I feel like for you, I'm mostly interested in wave riding because that's what you're excelling in, and every time we see you do something crazy, it's on a wave or something like that. I saw a clip of you in Piahi, just going through your Instagram, just absolutely eating it on the foil, and I think that was your first wave in Piahi. Is that right?
my second. After that one, we called it. Yeah, that was a session ender. I wasn't hurt or anything, but it was just probably like, my first one I made, which I was super stoked. But it was kind of like, okay, I made one, I'm happy, and I got licked on one. So we'll do it another day and wait for it. And it's funny, like, a lot of the stuff on social media and Instagram in particular, it always the crashes do better, right? Like
Mm.
everyone sees the crash, it's like that was the one. And I think the wave was probably a little bigger than the one I made. So it definitely was a little bit more spectacular, but yeah, it's good. I think out there, especially like I'm happy with falling and being fine. It's good to get a little bit worked and know that you can, handle it and
But what does it
yeah.
feel like, dude? Because like for people that are not even exposed to that kind of wave riding, like you were under and then over and under.
Yeah,
Like, what does that feel like?
it doesn't, yeah, it sucks. It definitely sucks, but you train for it and it's something that you're prepared to do. You don't just go out there and it's not like a normal spot. There's a lot of, you know, things that go into it that make it really safe. And it honestly, if you do it correctly, it can be safer than your local spot. There's a lot of safety out there and there's a lot of
Mm.
stuff that we use that is, is just has safety in mind. But in terms of what it feels like, yeah, to be, completely frank with you, it sucks. I didn't know that I got sucked up and spit out the top like that, where you can see me. I thought it like kind of threw me, and I was just doing the typical washing machine
Mm.
thing. So it wasn't like I was aware of, I was at the top, and a lot of people. I've gotten a lot of questions like, "Oh, you get a breath there," and
Yeah, yeah.
and every time I say, "No, my eyes were closed. I was, in a state of calm."
Mm.
If that makes sense, which is, I think, good. You don't really, I mean, in that one at least, I didn't have time to open my eyes and be like, hey, we're up here, uh-oh, and then back down. But um, yeah, it has that like you fall initial impact is pretty, normal for us going fast like that. And then for that one, it was a little bit of, I felt the wave hit me, kind of just ragdolled me a bit, and then straight up, and it was just kind of like calm, not or
Mm.
like not rough. It was just kind of like, and then up, and you just feel like you just get sucked forever. Like
That's
you're
crazy.
like, oh shit, and then you hit, and then it goes kind of psycho. that wave wasn't nearly as bad as any of the other wipeouts I've seen out there, or any of the wipeouts that I got even on smaller days surfing it.
Mm.
Um, just because I kind of, went down and hit and kind of blew up and it pushed me down. It was more of a north wave too,
Hmm.
I believe. So my board got spit into the channel and I popped up relatively quickly. Depending on the wave out there, it can be much worse. So I definitely, it was lucky, and it wasn't that bad of a wipeout, even though it looked yeah,
It
pretty
looked
bad.
gnarly, man.
Yeah, and
It
that's
looked
why, I
gnarly.
mean, back to the social media thing, it's like always the crashes tend to do better, which, I'm fine with, which is fun. I love watching crashes and fails too, but yeah, so there was one, the first wave that Finn Spencer got me. We made, and I was stoked. And then that one I got a little bit more comfortable and tried fading it a little bit
Mm.
at the top. And I think in the beginning of that video you kind of see like a little S, and me just being stupid and not knowing where I was on the wave and getting a little bit. I think I would have made it. There was a section I came down to the bottom and briefly hit the board on the water, and I
There
lost a
was,
little bit
yeah.
of speed. Yeah, and then the wave just hit the back of the board a little bit. If I didn't hit that section and the board got sucked down like that, I might have made that wave, or I definitely would have been a lot closer. But I don't know. I just got a little bit too comfortable. It was definitely that fade in the beginning.
Mm.
I always been out there and watched it, and I don't know, if you're gonna do it, you might as well go for it and try your best. Not send the shoulder as much, but um, I think it was just a mix of I got one and made it, was feeling a little bit comfortable or too comfortable, I guess, and
What kind of gear were you
made it for
on?
it.
Like mast and foil and all that stuff?
Yeah, it was all believe it or not, it was all stock stuff.
Hmm.
Everyone can buy, I think, except for the front wing. The front wing was a smaller MA. That
Like a 500,
it was
400?
it was a 475, I believe.
Yeah.
But that was the only prototype thing that I had. I had a normal, I think I had a 70 fuse on with a 1035 mast.
Hmm.
And my tail was I want to say a 140. I think, yeah, it was 140.
Nice.
Um, and yeah, I think the two posts that I put on Instagram, the difference between the two waves was a degree, like a half degree difference or something in the tail wing. So one of the posts is just, I think I titled it like red shim or something, the one I made.
Yep.
So the tail had like a 1 degree difference in that
Hmm.
one that I made, and then the second one I took it out or something. So um, I blamed it on that. It
Yeah.
definitely wasn't
Damn, the
user error or
shimming's
anything.
always fucking us up, isn't it?
That little plastic, degree difference really just
Makes
got
it or
to me.
breaks
But
it.
yeah, and then I think the board was just what was that board? I think it was just one of the older 27 liter, like it was just one of the boards that they had. It was like the only, like a small wing board, or like
Yeah.
a prone board. It was before the surf line and all of the good stuff that they have now. But yeah, it was a learning experience. And this winter we didn't really get. I got one day up there that was pretty
Hmm.
small and windy, and we got a lot of really good days paddling. We had a
Yeah.
long, I
Well,
think with the Eddies Fall, there was a lot of no wind days, that was just too perfect. And if there's guys paddling, you're not gonna tow surf or tow foil. So
mhm.
there wasn't really too many days. Like I said, there was probably one this year that we got. So hopefully this coming winter we can push it a little bit harder and get some crazy stuff in some bigger waves. But we'll see. I've
Mm.
never I think part of the safety out there, at least for me, is I've never put any pressure on myself for big waves. It's always been out of, again, joy and just pushing myself. I never done
Nice.
it for sponsors or done it for anyone else besides me. So if it comes together, the mindset is, if it comes together again, then it comes together. But yeah, that session out there that we got was a bit of luck, and I guess a bit of not luck. But yeah, we'll see. Maybe we'll pair wing it. You never know.
I think so. And
Pair wing it this year.
I was curious about your setup because if you are in such a small foil and a big mast and, small board, getting up on the Parawing is going to be a challenge. And then I'm thinking, well, what size Parawing do you need? Is it a big ass Parawing? And then, packing it down will be a challenge. So I think the gear that you need to be able to tow into one of those beasts will present some challenges on the Parawing just to get up and get going. But I don't know, man. You're a wizard, so you'll figure it out.
Yeah, and I think it's fully possible. Like that setup that I use, I mean, in that clip, I think I'd probably get up on it or get up with the Parawing.
Hmm.
Depending on how windy it is. It needs to be pretty windy.
Yeah.
Um, but I've been Parawinging on the new MAs like the 590 and 490 and those are teeny. Like they're pretty small. They have a lot of low end, but for the most part they're pretty small and a much shorter mast, so that will
Yeah.
definitely hurt with a longer mast. But um, I think it's fully doable. It's going to be hard to get up to speed and catch one of them for sure. But yeah, I don't know. If it happens, it happens. I know Kai did it, so there's a way for sure.
There's a way, man. I think experiencing with the technique of just wadding it up and packing it down will be crucial. I mean, that's probably one of the hardest things. I think, it will take anywhere from 5 to 10 seconds to pack it down. I mean, 5 to 10 seconds on that wave. I mean, where do you have to catch it to actually be in a performing spot when it's actually,
Yeah, and I think
breaking?
that's
Like,
part of the reason. Like you saw Kai's video, it wasn't fully packed away. It might have been flapping around a bit. You just don't have a lot of time, and the wind speed it accelerates so fast up those waves where it could be,
mm,
15 knots, in the channel or something. But once you get on a wave, it accelerates to maybe even double. So being able
that's
to
so hard.
pack the wing away is, I've had trouble in the gorge packing away a pair wing at, 25 knots.
Yeah,
It was a bit, but you go downwind with it, and if you're going down a wave,
you'll
the
catch
wind's
some
going up
speed.
it's going to be hard to, go with the wind and pack it up. Because a lot of times when you pack up a pairwing, right, you're going downwind. So
Hmm.
you lose all, tension in the line, so you're able to, grab it. So it'll be interesting. It'll definitely be hard, and I think it might take some testing in some smaller conditions first, for sure,
Mm.
to even think before going out there.
What's
But
the perfect kind of wind direction and conditions for wave riding? So if we think about all of those things, like if you think about the perfect day, what, strength of wind are you talking about? What direction compared to the wave? What do you think works best?
I think anything really works. The only thing that kind of sucks in terms of wave riding is straight offshore.
Yep.
If it's super offshore, it's pretty hard. But what's good about, winging and stuff is like if you can just get onto the wave, you can put the wing down and you're not going to get pulled as much
Mm.
by the wind. Still, with offshore winds, it makes you slow down a lot. Like you
Yep.
feel the difference with offshore. For me, I prefer, a side off wind.
Hmm.
Been lucky enough to grow up here on Maui with, almost every day is basically cross off at Hokipa.
Hmm.
And it's, goes down the right. So like cross off going whichever way you want to go, it's probably the best um, wind direction for winging and honestly probably parawinging as well. Onshore stuff is totally doable, but a lot of just to wing. If you're doing like lay down stuff, it definitely depends on wind direction and all that good stuff. Like Cape Verde is a really good example. Like
Hmm.
it looks really good, but that wave is super. Um, the wind is super offshore there, so you watch it in a lot of the kite clips. Like it's hard. It's really hard to kite it because you typically get pulled out the back of the
Yep.
wave. Same with winging. Like those laid down bottom turns, more windsurf style, is super hard because at the top when you want to pull it up and then kind of come down it, it's harder to kind of get it around because the wind doesn't help you.
Hmm.
Whereas if it was side, more side, it helps a little bit more. But those are kind of, it's doable. Like if you're just gonna get on a wave and wing it flagged out, probably, side off onshore is your
Hmm.
best two. Offshore and then like, side off into whichever direction you're going kind of blows. It's just hard. The wing is a lot of area that gets caught by wind and it just makes it harder. But it's definitely doable. It's for sure doable. But you see the most progression and the biggest maneuvers probably with side off,
Yep.
maybe a little bit more off. Like South Africa was in at J Bay was really offshore.
Hmm.
So like those big, closeout sections that a lot of them I didn't really make, but went huge and tried to make super offshore. So
Yeah. Right.
you're able to go into it really powered and hit a lip super, you already have wind in your sail, so you're good and you can just boost off those for as far as you can. Getting back down in front of the wave and then riding out in front of it is a completely different conversation, and it's much harder
Mm.
with that wind. Whereas side off or more side direction wind is you're able to do those lay down bottom turns, and a lot of times you go into hitting that section with no wind in your sail. So you hit it, and as soon as you hit it, you kind of turn more, upwind, and
Hmm.
that's when you get caught and you're good. But there's definitely a fine line between too offshore and too side. Like you really want to split the difference.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. It all works as long as
It
you're
all
having
works,
fun.
dude.
You're in the
Well, it
water.
all works for you because clearly, yeah, you're doing something right.
We're trying, that's for sure.
When do you feel Armstrong's gonna get out with the Parawing, man?
I don't know. I hope hopefully soon. There's been a lot of talk and there's been a lot of R&D at least.
Hmm.
I'm excited. I think there's actually a few protos being sent my way soon. So
Nice.
I don't know. I think in terms of Armstrong putting out Parawings, they're not the type to just put something out that they're not 100% confident in, or
Yeah.
is don't think is the best wing on the market. So
Mm.
I think they're probably gonna, they're a little bit later than F1, Duotone, or any of these other brands, but I think there's a good reason for that, and I can't speak for the entire company, but from my you know past and history with them, everything that they put out is typically the best, that they can do, and it's been thoroughly tested, and the material has been tested, and everything
Mm.
that goes into it has been thoroughly looked at. Instead of just being like, we need to put out a pair one right now. Everyone else
Yeah.
is putting out one. We're just gonna make one really quick and put it out. Um, so hopefully soon. I'd really love for them to come out with one soon. But at the same time, I really would like them to come out with a good one that's I can rely on and really test the boundaries of parawing. So I think it'll be soon. But it's just like a slow work and R&D process for sure.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what kind of style they're going to be focusing on with, a lot of focus on downwinding and surf with all the riders. Like, is it going to be a Parawing with maybe some shorter lines and more, inclined for wave riding, or, what they're going to come up with if they're going to be targeting different disciplines and having multiple models like some brands, or if it's just going to be the one thing that does it all. Yeah, I'm definitely kind of waiting for that one to come out. Maybe
Yeah.
AWSI, we never know.
Yeah, you never know. AWSI is a great place. I been going there the past I think 2 or 3 years now, and it's like the best event ever. There's never, I mean, there's usually some wind, but it's been pretty light the past few years. But it's just so cool to see all the product from all different companies, and you get to see a lot of different riders and meet a lot of different people. So it's definitely a unique thing, and get to see new stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, hopefully there might be one there, and we'll see how it goes. But in terms of, your thoughts on what it might be, is it going to be a good upwind, high aspect wing, or
Mm.
more, low end or whatever? I think, if they stay on brand, and, you never know, they could just fully, flip the script on us.
Mm.
And I know nothing here. I'm just, talking
Spitballing.
spitballing. But it just in terms of what the XPS is, it's just a really
Yep.
good overall. Like you can kind of do anything on it. It's probably going to be like that, and that's also one of the reasons why I think it's taken a little bit longer to come out than any other brands, is because dialing in a wing that can be really good in all aspects of foiling or parawinging or
Mm.
winging is very difficult, because you have to find what you like about a really good race wing that's super high aspect and goes
Hmm.
upwind really well, a wave wing that might float or flag out a little bit different, a parawing that packs up better, and there's just a lot of stuff that goes into it. So being able to test everything and see what you like and then put it into your own product definitely takes time. And but I expect it to be something that is kind of an overall and all around Parawing. Again, spitballing here, I have no idea. They could come out with 5 different variations that you could purchase. I don't know.
Yeah,
So,
it'll be
but
cool to see what their approach is, and I'm sure they're going to have a good point of view on it. I'm just curious to see where they take it. I'm also curious to understand from you, like, what are your thoughts on like how parawinging will continue to grow in terms of who's going to be adopting it? What type of foiler do you think will jump on the parawing next?
it's a good question, and it's hard to say. Just being in Hood for that week or week and a half, it's crazy. Like everyone who's was downwinding is getting into it. A
Mm,
lot of people who are stoked on downwinding are really into parawinging. Um, but I think you're gonna see a lot of people who are super stoked on sup downwinding move over to it. Just because part of the reason you sup downwind is, I mean, get a workout, of course, because it's hard, but
yep.
also, you want to turn and do stuff in the swell. If you can do that on a smaller foil and a smaller board, there's no reason to really use a bigger one.
Mm,
Everyone wants to be on a smaller one and do a sharper turn or whatever. And of course, I think supping has there's a place for it. And I love to do it still, but even then, like I've moved down to a 65-liter mid-length to
that's
downwind,
crazy.
and I love it because I'm able to turn more. I don't
Yeah,
want to use my 8.2 because I can't turn it,
yeah.
and it's just for going straight. But there's definitely a place for it, and I think a lot of people are gonna move to the Parawing and not necessarily completely switch over.
Mm,
It's it can pack into a teeny little box, like not even, or a pouch. You
yeah.
could have a Parawing in your quiver and not know it's there, kind of thing. It's
Hmm.
super sleek, and I think it's great about that. It's just another toy to add to the van or the car, and do something different. You might show up to the beach or the river or the lake one day and want to do something different. It's super cool. Or maybe you forgot your pump. You're like, oh, I have my Parawing in the car. I just
That's a good
walk out
thing. You don't
and,
have to
and throw
pump,
it out.
man.
I know.
I
Yeah,
love
and
it.
I hate to say it, but I think winging might have made me a little bit lazy because yeah, the whole no pumping thing I just froth out about. I
Yeah.
don't need my pump.
Chuck your stash on and you're out,
Yep.
and it feels like you're gonna go proning.
Yeah, exactly. So it'd be interesting. I think maybe you'll see some guys who are into proning transfer over. I think it's hard. I think it's going to be a really hard sport to learn if you don't wing or do
Mm,
anything of that sort. Um, Going just from proning, you might be able to do it. Like if you know how to foil, I think you can figure it out pretty easily. Like it's pretty obvious, and you can just kind of hold it out there and move it around a bit, and it'll pull you if it's windy
hmm.
enough. So I don't know. It's going to be super interesting to see who gets into it. Is there going to be people who only pair wing? Is it just going to be an accessory in the quiver that people have? Or
Yep.
yeah, I'm super curious to see. But being in Hood River for that week and a half is super special and eye-opening because just how many people are into it.
Oh
I
man,
know
the
I know
froth
you
there was
mentioned
just
Ken and all those
crazy.
guys that are just,
Yeah.
it's not freestyle, it's not waves, but they're just ripping and doing
Mm.
stuff that even I'm like, I think that's harder than, front flipping it or something. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
So technical,
Yeah,
man.
super
Yeah.
technical, and they do it on the wing too, but
Mm.
just for me looking at it with the pair wing, I'm like, I don't,
Yeah.
can't, the wing, I kind of get it where I'm like, okay, I could learn that. But right now with my skill level, the pair wing, I'm just like, whoa, what
I
is
got a
that?
question from a really avid winger that he wants to know from you if parawinging will outgrow winging.
That is yeah, that's an awesome question. I don't know. A lot of, most of my answers here, and, I hate to be a horrible guest here, but I don't know. I really don't know. I think winging is huge and it's going to continue to grow. Um, but is parawinging gonna, exceed winging? It's hard to say. It has a good chance. It does have a good chance just because it takes up less room. It's
Mm,
small. It's easy. Um, you can bring it everywhere. Like that's the only thing. Like it just is a little bit more easily transportable, I guess.
mm,
But I don't know. Like, winging is great in the waves, and the benefit is you get to use the power of the wind to get into swell that you wouldn't normally get into, surfing or any of the other
mm,
sports. But parawinging also has that ability. Like, you're able to do that, but then you can get rid of the wing if you want. You can just take it away. I think it's a lot harder to go down the line on a parawing if it's fully powered up. As soon
yeah.
as you put it away, you can do basically anything. Like, you want tow foiling, which is
Yeah.
awesome. There's a lot of freedom there, but are you going to pack it away every wave and do that, or do you want to ride sometimes with the power of that pair wing? And I
Hmm.
think in those moments when you want to ride with it, you're not going to be able to do the things that you want to do in terms of shooting down the line with a wing.
Yeah.
But again, I don't know. We're spitballing here. Who knows? It's going to be interesting. It's going to be really interesting next year or two. I'm really excited to see where it goes, and who knows? Maybe you will be able to shoot down the line, harder than you can winging. But yeah, I think there's a lot of benefits and stuff that I love about winging, and then there's a lot of benefits that I think, and I can't wait to try parawinging. So
Yeah.
um, we'll see. I don't know. How's the parawing scene down in Oz?
It's good, man. It's picking up. I guess like the same thing that you said. I think a lot of people are coming in from downwinding,
Yeah.
and especially people that are in that initial phase of paddling, which sucks, and they're eating it, and they're like, "Oh, I know how to wing." So the paddling comes pretty quick if you know how to wing, and those people are jumping on pretty quick. I think the next wave will be wingers, just people who wing and they kind of capped out on their winging ability. They're not going to do a backflip. They might do some tacks or whatever, and they're a little stifled. And the next thing that they might try is a parawing, and ultimately they might have like a 5 meter wing, and then all the sizes below that might be parawings. Because then that's when the parawing shines. Who knows? But
Yeah.
it's still, it's like the froth here is not enormous on it. It's picking up now, and I think now that people are seeing what's possible with the videos that you post out, people like Malo putting all the freestyle stuff, but then also downwinders like James Casey and Josh Koo, like they're having their go on it and experimenting with downwinding with it. So it's growing, man. I feel like everybody in my crew loves it because we're frothing on it, but in general terms, everybody's still like, "Oh, I'm waiting for a better model. Or I'm waiting for the next version," because they are evolving pretty quickly. And that's why I'm asking when Armstrong's coming out with them, because I'm sure that once, a big brand like Armstrong kind of puts it out there, kind of cements, the
Yeah,
discipline
and
as well.
I think there's definitely a point there, and in my opinion, I think a lot of the brands have rushed it and just
Mm,
thrown shit at the wall. They
agree.
just threw it out there and said, "We got one. Come
Mm,
buy ours," and trying to eat up a bit of the market in terms of the pairwing side of things. But yeah, there's some really great ones out there already, and yeah, I'm really excited to see what Armstrong comes out with it, and I do believe that they will come out with one. So. We'll see if it'll be at AWSI. I don't know if it will be, but are you coming? You gonna be there?
I'll try. I don't know. I don't know if I have money to go back, man. I just came back from the trip and I'm like, should I
Yeah.
go back? I mean, it's kind of close. I'll see if maybe I can get, there with some help from brands or stuff like that. But yeah, if I do go there, I'll definitely say hello and check out your
It
stand.
is a bit far for you. I
It is,
think
but
I don't know if
it's worth
Oscar's
going.
coming. I don't
He's
think
not.
Oscar's gonna come. He's I think he'll be stuck down there with you, exploiting his pair or not his pair wing, but his toe boogie
Yeah.
lifestyle that he's
He
built for
was he
himself.
was
So
frothing on the Parawing in Hood, man. We spent a good
he's
half hour
yeah.
like, "Hey, how do you do this? How do you do that?" And he wanted to know how to pack it down
Yeah.
properly.
We've been
He's
struggling. I see he's yeah. he's talking to people without me knowing, which is not good because then he's getting info that I don't have.
No,
So,
yeah, he's got the
um,
lowdown from me, and he needs to practice because it's literally like every time you pack the Parawing coming out of the water or packing it into the bag, you always pack it the same way. So
yeah,
you get that muscle memory of just doing it, and it just comes pretty quickly. I think my quickest pack away was around like 5 or 6 seconds.
yeah,
Still takes a while, but that's from like fully powered to fully stowed.
yeah,
And that was with the BRM that is really good to pack away because it just packs away really small.
yeah.
Um, but Cash, I want to before we just go, man, I just want to give you a little bit of space here to kind of tell us what's coming up next with you. Like, what are you working on? What are you excited about? And any projects in the making that we should be aware of.
Yeah, there's always project ideas floating around in my head and in the crew's head for sure. I think we've got a few films coming up.
Cool.
Shorter, a little bit longer, we'll see. So stick around for those. I can't, say anything on them yet, but
Yep.
just be ready and
Location or type of video or what
yep,
you're doing.
all this is all secret sauce, but it will be known to the public in due time. And yeah, I'm excited to see, the Parawing thing's a great, awesome and spectacular addition to the whole hydrofoil, I guess, movement you could say.
Mm.
But in terms of my program, yeah, I'm stoked on making really cool content for you guys to see and hopefully inspire more people to really get into foiling and just riding swell in particular. I never thought I'd find myself in Oregon before
Yeah.
foiling, and I do look at it now as basically surfing a river.
Yep.
We were proning into it, I think, one of the days when it got big. So, yeah, we're just around, and the idea is to just really inspire as many people as we can, and make cool content for you guys, whether that be parawinging, sup foiling, proning, or winging. So I think, I look forward to the future. I think I'm going to try to add a little bit of surfing in there as well, just
Hmm.
because, that's what I grew up doing and it's what I still love to do a lot. So we'll see. I think, yeah, that's kind of it. If anything comes up, I'll let you guys know. Just follow the journey and yeah, we're stoked. If you have any questions, just reach out to me or Daniel. Daniel's the boss. So, um, but yeah, that's kind of it for me. I don't know what your next program is. You're thinking about coming to AWSI, but any
Yeah.
any interesting people lined up for the rest of the Foil
Yeah.
Rap podcast? Who we got?
Yeah, we have. I want you to help me get one of the Spencer brothers on. I need to talk to them. But yeah, I got John McCabe coming on. I have Kyle Maligro that did a really funny run with his pants down in Rufus.
Nice.
We were doing that downwinder, and then he pulled his pants down, and I thought it was going to be for a second. He did the whole run with his pants down.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I was like,
Nice.
okay, nice.
Right on.
But yeah, we have a lot of people from that I met in Hood River, and all the pros were there. So it was cool just to see the reaction of people like coming up and saying, "Hey, listen to the podcast. Thanks for that." I'm like, I was not expecting that because I'm in my little bubble down here with my mates, and they're like, "Oh, it's Dan talking about parawinging again. Who cares?" But everybody was frothing on it up there, and I was like, "Oh wow!" So it gave me a lot of motivation to come back. And then when you talk about inspiration, man, like I came back and I had just the blues from being back, from summer in Hood River to winter in Australia. And then I was like, oh, I don't want to do a podcast, man. I can't be bothered. And then messaged you and you were like, yeah, dude, let's do it. So thanks, because you got me back on track. You're going to be the first podcast that I post after Hood River. And everybody's been like, man, you went MIA, like get back on it. So thanks for motivating me.
I'm glad I
to get
can
back on
motivate
track.
you. I appreciate you bringing me on, and I hope you can rally and lasso one of the Spencer brothers, bring them down. They're an elusive bunch, but
Yeah,
they're super fun to talk to and just full of knowledge. They're doing a lot of
absolutely.
R&D and design for duotones. So
Mm.
I'm always, maybe a little bit too much, but kind of just like lingering in their driveway. They're right back down. They're right down at the beach. So
Sick.
I'm a little bit up the mountain, so I'm always out of the way. So in between sessions, I kind of just sit there and hopefully they like throw snacks out their window or something. But yeah, they'd be an awesome one to get on. But yeah, I appreciate you having me on, and
Thanks, dude.
yeah, if you want to do another one, let me know. I'm around, and as you've scene. I like to talk. So, but yeah, I appreciate it. And one day I'll make it down to Oz. I don't know. Oscar needs
Yeah,
to
you will,
invite
man. You
me.
have to. There's a lot of amazing wave riding, downwinding spots, just absolutely everything that you could want to do on a foil. You could do it down here. But thanks again, dude. We got through it. We had a little bit of connection issues, but it worked out. Thanks for your time. Thanks for everything you do, your stoke level, just your energy and your openness to have a chat, mate. I really appreciate you coming on.
Of course, yeah. Sorry, I apologize for the technical difficulties. I hope this one doesn't require too much editing. I don't think there
It'll be
was a.
fine.
I kept the cursing to a minimum. Yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, good to see you and good to chat. Until the
Thanks,
next
dude.
one.
All right. Keep doing what you're doing, Cash. Thanks for coming on, bro.
Thank you, good sir.